A few days ago, Ubisoft had an AMA on Reddit regarding Black Flag Resynced, where they answered a lot of questions from the community, and we learned quite a few new things regarding some of the answers. Now in this video, I want to go over those questions and answers, but if you don't want the specific questions, which is in the timestamps below, essentially this AMA gives us one of the clearest looks yet at what Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced is trying to achieve. The biggest, I would say, takeaway is balance. Ubisoft is not really trying to reinvent the game, but rather modernize it while keeping its identity intact. Combat is a key focus. It is being rebuilt to feel more skill-based and reactive, while still keeping the stylish, chain-driven feel that made the original so satisfying. At the same time, core systems like the Wanted system, Naval Combat, and side activities are returning largely intact, just rebuilt with modern tech. The world itself is not really bigger, but it is denser with more detail. This fits with the overall direction, which is not expansion for the sake of scale, but improvement in quality and immersion. Features like dynamic weather, destructible environments, and improved water systems all reinforce that. There is also a strong emphasis on player choice and accessibility, from full control remapping to HUD customization and performance options. The game is clearly being designed to suit a wider range of playstyles. Finally, there is a clear respect for the original experience. Social stealth is back, classic outfits return, side activities are preserved, and even small details like sea shanties are being expanded rather than replaced. At the same time, new content and systems are being added to give returning players something fresh. Overall, Black Flag Resynced looks like a careful mix of preservation and evolution, aiming to deliver the same core experience, but at a much higher standard for a modern audience. Now, going over the questions itself, there's quite a few that was asked, and the first one was from the user Federal Top, where they asked a two-part question. The first one regarding the UI, such as the shift from a minimap to a compass, and the second part regarding base movement and controls. Ubisoft's response, quote, "To answer question 1, our focus with Resynced was to keep our eyes on the seas. The compass helps give a direction on where to go without taking up a lot of screen space or distraction from the sea. Question 2, we're definitely keeping our eyes on this topic, and we hear you on the request for a more classic control scheme." End quote. So clearly they are still working on the controls, because from the footage we've seen it is a work in progress and the game is releasing in 2 months, so they have some time to fine-tune some of the controls. Sparked Synapse essentially had a 3-part question where they asked about the overall philosophy behind the new combat system, what games or genre may have influenced it, and whether there will be a higher difficulty option to push players who enjoy mastering combat mechanics. Ubisoft response, quote, "Resynced's combat is heavily inspired by fan-made combo/tool videos from the original. We set off with a target to bring back Edward's parry-based, flashy style of combat, but we also knew that the bar for fight systems is higher in 2026. In the original, using the pistol and tools in combat were great fun, but they were mostly visual. In Resynced, different moves need to be used in different situations. This means that one needs to react quickly in order to pull off a flashy series of moves. We'll be able to share more on the rest of your questions in a combat deep dive very soon." End quote. So there Ubisoft confirms that they will have a deep dive video soon on the combat system of Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, which I'm guessing will probably drop later in the month, maybe at the beginning of June, as I'm sure they want to push marketing on this game as much as possible because, like I said earlier, we are essentially 2 months away from its release. The user Tyler Bio Rodriguez asked a question which was focused on whether new historical research, specifically around Anne Bonny, would be reflected in the database, and if previously cut content or new missions involving characters like Bonny and Mary Read would be added. Ubisoft's response, quote, "Wow, that's super cool. Our team did notice Bonny's newly discovered burial records. And yes, we're excited for fans to experience the new content featuring characters, both old and new." End quote. So there they confirm that there will be new content not only for Edward, but some of the other side characters as well. The user Treviso asked a question about the biggest challenges the developers faced when updating Black Flag for modern audiences, both in gameplay systems and narrative, while still staying true to the original experience. Ubisoft's response, quote, "So to answer your question on fun stories, there's a hidden stack of coconuts in Havana ready to be bowled." And then they added, "And we had a fun bug where the berserk dart worked on chickens. Never was Havana more in a panic," end quote. So not too much context on that answer. Then Assassin's Home asked a question on how much of the new engine comes from Shadows, whether modern day lore is changing, and if new side content is being added, and if movement systems from recent games are included. Ubisoft said, quote, "The Anvil engine at the heart of Shadows is at the heart of Black Flag Resynced 2, giving us access to everything from ray tracing to RTGI and better sound, dynamic weather, destructible objects, and much more. And specifically for Black Flag Resynced, the Anvil Water Tech team has been a critical part of the experience in giving us the best naval experience yet," end quote. I mean, from looking at the gameplay, it certainly looks visually stunning, especially the water, so I have no doubt that the final version of Black Flag Resynced will look even better. Narcy asked about social stealth, a simple but important question, asking whether social stealth mechanics are returning in the remake, and Ubisoft had a short answer confirming that social stealth is indeed back. Humperts asked a question whether the world map is being expanded compared to the original game, and Ubisoft said, quote, "The map size remains the same at 16 by 16 km. However, the world is now a little more dense with new islands and new locations nestled in the cities," end quote. Embracer X asked a question, well, they asked multiple questions, but specifically asked whether legendary ship battles would return, and Ubisoft confirmed that legendary ships return and are as brutal as ever to fight. "We'll be sharing more information on legendary ships in a naval deep dive later in May," end quote. So there they confirm, like I said earlier, they will have a deep dive video later in May, probably talking about the combat, the naval ships, possibly some of the outfits. But yeah, at the end of May, we will definitely get more information on Black Flag Resynced. Then moving on to Mundane's question, they asked whether the iconic memory corridor scenes and confession moments would be updated or expanded, and Ubisoft said that the memory corridors do return, this time in 4K. Assassin Crypt asked a very important question about multiple systems, including the return of the DNA menu, how the wanted system works, and whether activities like royal convoys and social events are coming back, and Ubisoft had quite a lengthy answer where they stated that the DNA sequences menu will not be making a comeback. "We use the classic wanted system from Black Flag, where pirate hunters will sail in and stalk you based on your wanted level. Higher wanted level equals stronger and more pirate hunters on the lookout. You can reduce your bounty by boarding ships or by paying bribes to corrupted officers. All side activities from the original return and were built or rebuilt from the ground up. Royal convoys are in the game, but finding them won't be easy. As for social chests, a pirate never confirms or denies the existence of his treasure," end quote. So quite a lot of information from this answer. The big one, that DNA sequences will not be returning in Black Flag Resynced, but there will be a classic wanted system, and I have no doubt that treasure chests will return, as Ubisoft do like their collectibles in their games. One interesting question by Drunken Bikini is about the original outfits, where Ubisoft just said all of the original costumes return. Now we know that there's already 2 new costumes confirmed, the Master Assassin outfit and the pre-order pack, so I have no doubt that there will be more costumes in the store for Edward, because well, it is Ubisoft after all, and they do like their store, their in-game store, so I'm curious on all of the costumes that they're going to add for Black Flag Resynced. Overall, I feel that these were the most important questions in the AMA. Some of the questions go over the same topics such as the wanted system, and some of the questions are about remapping controls, which is confirmed, as well as old shanties that will return, as well as new ones. And with Ubisoft confirming that they're going to have more information at the end of May, this is definitely going to be a big month for Black Flag Resynced, so keep your eye out for more information. But what are some of your thoughts on Black Flag Resynced so far, and what questions do you have going forward? Let me know in the comments below, and for more Assassin's Creed content, have a look at the rest of my channel. If you like this video, then give me a thumbs up. If you dislike it, then give me a thumbs down, but please tell me why so I can improve my videos. Until next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.